Every word has two different kinds of meaning. You have a denotative and a connotative meaning for every word. So when you're speaking to your audience, there are two different ways you can describe words. You never want to use words that are kind of out of range for your audience. Not to say your audience is not intelligent enough to comprehend words, but you have to think. If you're speaking to a group of high school students, and if you're a medical doctor explaining to them the dangers of smoking, well, you have to really use words and terms that make sense to them, that they can realize, well, I know what a lung is, without using the technical word for a lung, which I have no idea what that might be. But I'm sure there's some 35-letter word for lung. So keeping it simple. But denotative and connotative. A denotative definition for a word is its dictionary-like definition. We've talked about that already. The second way to define a word is connotative, meaning connotative. So this is where if someone says, what does that really mean? You ever used a word and people didn't really understand it, or you wanted to ask somebody, what does that mean? And they really can't define it for you, like a textbook definition, right? So they say, well, it's kind of like, kind of beating around the bush here way of saying this is what it means. They use examples, they use maybe a story to tell you kind of what this really is. In language accurately, clearly, vividly, and appropriately. We look at abstract words. Abstract words we talked about a while ago. If something has more than one meaning, well, that can be confusing for your audience, can't it? Let's see, what is today? Today is Monday. It was Thursday, and I told you all that Thursday was a special day in my life. What was it? My anniversary, right? You're exactly right, anniversary. So, I left here. I was supposed to go have lunch with my wife for our anniversary. And I left class here, went to my office, and was going to pack up and leave with her. I went to her office, and she wasn't there. Wasn't there. The lights were off, and I was kind of like, well, maybe she's out of the car. Maybe she's waiting on me out of the car. And so I went to the car to find her. Anybody want to guess what happened at this point? There's no car. Car wasn't there. Yeah, you would think, okay, maybe you think, she went to go get me something, right? But that wasn't the plan. So, sure enough, she forgot about me and had gone home for lunch. Totally forgot. So what does, I had some stuff with me. It was hot. You all may remember it was kind of hot. And it was the middle of the day, busy time of day, 12 o'clock, busy traffic outside. And I'm carrying a pretty heavy bag with me on one side. And so if you're a man and you're in this situation, what do? You had a lunch date with your wife, and she just totally went off and left you. What do? Well, let me tell you what, a man's pride will not let him call and say, oh, you forgot me, please come back and get me. Just so you all know that's not what can happen. So, what I did is I started walking home. Oh. Yeah, that's where she would be. So I started walking home, and you all know Atlanta Highway.
You walked home in the heat?
It's busy. We only live maybe a mile or 2 miles. We don't live real far. However, it's not the best walking conditions, right? Especially at noon on Atlanta Highway. But this is a busy, with bad drivers and everything, right? I mean, it's a bad place to walk. And there are not very many good places. There's not a sidewalk, in other words. Right outside the campus here, there's this ledge by the girls' dorm, right? And there's this kind of gravel spot, then it drops off in this kind of hole there. Well, I was walking in that, and if this were any of you, please don't confess it to me. But some people were honking and kind of laughing. I didn't look, Also, I'm not going to look either. So I'm walking down Atlanta Highway and trying not to get hit, trying not to fall off the ledge, and it's hot, and I'm angry. I was wearing those shoes. Remember I was talking about the shoes with no heel? It's hard to walk. So here I am walking the gravel, and I get right to where there's a shopping center right past the girls' dorm. You all know where I'm talking about. Yeah. And in between that and the girls' dorm is a driveway down to the storage buildings, and there are some bushes right there.
Oh, I know.
Y'all familiar with this area?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got to about the bushes, and in one of the bushes, I heard this movement in the bush, and this kind of growling sound, kind of like a snort. And I look about the time this dog comes busting out of the bushes right at me. Oh. And I just start running down Atlanta Highway at noon, in the middle of the day, with this bag and everything. It's not on my back, it's in my arm. You all tried to rub something in your arm? You're kind of like doing this right here. It's really awkward. So, I'm running down Atlanta Highway, and this dog is running behind me. Now, I made this whole story up. The whole thing was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. But I want you to notice something. What's important to know is when I say the word dog, the dog jumped out from behind the bush. We probably saw different images in our minds, didn't we? I'm going to go around the room and I want you to tell me what came to mind when you name a dog, like what kind of dog, and you just describe it. What kind of dog did you see? Okay, that's a good one.
German Shepherd.
German Shepherd. I would run from a German Shepherd. Pit bull. You bet. German Shepherd. Mama. A pit bull.
I thought pit bulls.
Okay.
A little poodle aiming for your ankle.
Did you really think that? You probably did. It's a little poodle. Can you imagine? It's all imagine me running down Atlanta Highway.
Man, the poodles are mean.
I had those. There's a mean poodle on my street, but it's one of the big ones. You ever seen the big ones? Like it's like half big dog and half poodle. Okay.
Big, black, ugly dog.
Okay, ugly. Okay, like missing a tooth. Slobber hanger.
I saw a Doberman.
Doberman. Okay, good. Okay, most of you saw a similar dog, a big, scary dog, right? Now, I've had some classes, bigger classes where students, I think, have really seen like a little chihuahua jumping out of the bush, chasing me down the highway. That's a funny image to see, but you might think, well, why in the world is he running from a little lap dog, right? Why did you do that? So what I've done is I've used abstract language. This has multiple meanings. You can see different things in your mind. If I'm telling a story, my job is to take the image that is in my mind as I remember it, the best I can, and place it in the minds of my audience so that they can really experience it in their minds. And so in order to do that, I can't use abstract. I have to use concrete words, words that have a singular meaning. So instead of dog, I need to describe this dog. A 90-pound pit bull, dark gray pit bull, jumps out from behind this bush. And it's got one eye kind of swollen shut. It's missing a tooth. One ear is almost bit off. And it's slobbering. And every time I was running as hard as I can, but every step I took, I could hear the gravel behind me, and that dog scratching the gravel. And I could feel slobber slapping the back of my leg. Yeah. Now we're seeing a similar image, right? It's a gross one, but we're seeing a similar image. See the same dog. You start to hear it. And that's what's important too with concrete language is most people, not everybody, but most people share some senses, right? How many? 5, right? Unless it's the 6th, which is seeing dead people, right? But most of us don't have that one. So what are the 5 senses?
Smell, touch.
Okay, smell, touch,
Sight.
taste, sight.
Yeah. Hearing.
Good. Hearing. But most of us share those. So wouldn't it make sense then, if you're trying to describe something for your audience, to utilize as many of these as possible, right? We have shared experiences in life. We've smelled some of the same things. We've seen some of the same things, right? If that dog would have, when it jumped out, if it would have touched my leg, and as it turned around to chase me, if there was a separation between us, when it touched me, what might it feel like? A big gray pit bull. What did it feel like touch? Probably strong. Okay, strong like a strong dog. Like, what are you talking about? Like describe.
The dog brushed up against you, or the dog?
Yeah, when the dog hit me in the leg and brushed up against me, what did it feel like? Give us something to go off of. Like, what else might feel like that?
Dirty fur.
Okay, dirty fur. Like, what else has dirty fur? What else is a big animal with short hair, really strong? Maybe a horse. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. We look at similes and metaphors. So keep this in mind. But it's important to use these the best you can. Try to include this. When you're thinking about your story, your narrative story, start thinking, what kinds of senses can I bring into this to make this really come alive? So, concrete words. As an example here, we have, if I had 3 or 4 minutes, say 5 minutes at the most, to talk to you about a subject, if I came in, I'm going to talk to you about physical activity. In 5 minutes? Probably not. But I can break that down to sports, even further down to golf,